Welcome back. 2 minutes before pre-opening. Amit Gupta of ICICI Direct is also with us. Amit, good morning. What are your top trades?
See, from the cement pack, we are recommending ACC, and from FMCG, it is Colgate. Now, ACC, which is coming out of the last 3 months consolidation, the open interest in the stock is at the life lows, which means the short covering has already happened, and now the fresh long positions have started building up. So our sense is the stock is moving towards 1580 level. So another 100 points of upside is very much possible from here. Another is Colgate, where if you see the open interest in yesterday's session, it was 12% addition. So after giving a breakout above 1300 levels, such additions are coming up in the stock. So that means it should find some momentum very soon. And that is where I think as the HUL results are also lined up, eventually I think the FMCG stocks may start building up on that. And that is where I think the target of 1390 is very much likely in Colgate now.
All right. Thanks a lot for joining us, Amit. We have 20 seconds left for the pre-opening rates to kick in. Mr. Tulsian, just wanted your quick thoughts on how to approach Reliance ahead of its numbers tomorrow.
Sonia, maybe retail will really surprise retail and Geo both, but I don't think that the disappointment of on the GRM front is going to be seen too much disturbing the market, because that is already seen having factored in. We are estimating GRM at about maybe $8.4, and that will see the a bit, of the GRMs of the refinery segments to be falling down. But overall, we are expecting the PAT of about 8,975 crore. And the best part is that Reliance, the retail will be showing a growth in their EBIT margin, which we are expecting it to be at about 4%. If you recall, last year for the same quarter, they had an EBIT margin of about 2.6% for retail, which now is, continuously every quarter that is getting increased. And now we are expecting it to be 4%. With EBIT of about maybe 1360 crore for this segment. So overall, retail and Geo will really cheer the market. Petchem will keep their margins intact, and disappointment on GRM front has already been factored in by the market.
Okay, so just coming back to you, because we're getting the opening rates, and the rupee is opened surprisingly a little weaker. It's also possible because the dollar is now over 96 in terms of the dollar index. That's a weight against heavier currencies, but there was a little bit of weight. Otherwise, you can call it a flat opening, because the next trade is 71.04. Okay, now 71.10. Actually, it was a fairly strong trade deficit number, indicating, when I say strong, I mean it's a lower trade deficit number, which is always positive for the currency. But of course, it's reacting to the global dollar strength as well. We are getting the first trades in bonds as well, and there the yield is slightly lower. Of course, also that a positive. Market opening rates, it's still settling down, so I don't know how much to read. Z Entertainment is up 7%, so that's quite clearly, a market thumbs up. It may not be at 7, but it'll clearly be a fairly green opening. Among others, there's BPCL, Ultratech Cement, Bharti Infratel, Yes Bank continuing to rise, Infosys, SBI. So it's a motley set of stocks not showing any trend at this point in time. So I think the better thing would be to wait for markets to settle down a bit. Mr. Tulsian, I wanted to ask you, Yes Bank, there is this, I know you've been asked this ad nauseum. The buzz doing the rounds is that Ravneet Gill stands a chance. But he's had, of course, a good career in Deutsche itself, and the talk is that only 6 months back, RBI approved him in Deutsche, so it should be a quick change. How would you approach the stock now?
See, Lata, any outsider seen coming in Yes Bank as a CEO and MD will always be seen positive, because I'm not saying that the internal candidates are not seen to be fit. But, and you are right that, 6 months back, if the appraisal of the individual has been made of Mr. Gill, that will also accelerate the process, because time is running against, bank. 31st January is the last date, and RBI will also be, wanting to complete the process quickly. So this will definitely be seen positive, and once that comes in, I won't be surprised to see the share, having further re-rating potential on upside, the way we have seen in case of Axis Bank and ICICI Bank. I'm not saying that the other issues are not lingering on for the bank, but they are seen to be too trivial or maybe too minor. And once this appointment of, once the approval of any outsider, whether Mr. Gill or maybe somebody else, will be seen positive for the stock.
Okay, a couple of other rates in pre-open that you should keep an eye on. DHFL is down about 6%. That would be an interesting stock. KPIT Tech, let's just pull out that stock intraday or the first trade in the morning and see how that one's shaping up. That's down straight away, 10% on KPIT. Don't know if that's how it will play out, perhaps. But anyway, it's seen a bit of a correction. Mr. Tulsian, the one stock from the auto pack which has sort of seen a bit of a re-rating compared to others is Escorts after those sales numbers. But at 750, is it still a good buy?
See, Anuj, Q3 numbers are going to be seen extremely good, and this is what I have said after seeing the monthly sales number for December also. Because if you take the tractor sales YOY basis on a Q3, aggregate Q3, it's about 33-34% higher. And even on a continuous basis, on a monthly basis also, the company has really performed quite well. And their construction equipment and railway, both the segments are seen to be doing quite well. In fact, railway has been showing the excellent growth going forward. They have the order book of about 400 crore. And construction equipment is also seen to be adding to the profitability. So overall, now the eyes are that after having captured the good monthly sales for all these months, and one caveat that January months are always seen to be lowest for tractor sales. So let's not misunderstand, if the company is not able to declare their numbers by 31st January, then the monthly sales numbers should not disappoint. But by then, on hopes of the excellent Q3 numbers to be seen from the company, we are keeping positive bias on the stock.
Okay, well, a couple of more stocks to look at. MCX reported quite a good set of numbers. The revenues went up almost 30%. The futures volumes was up significantly, and MCX is now in the green. On KPIT Technologies, of course, the numbers are disappointing, but don't forget there will also be an eventual demerger of the engineering business from the IT business. So that's something to keep on your radar. And Jet Airways is starting a tad bit in the red right now. So, there could be some final resolution plan today. But remember, the stock has rallied a whole lot. Today, it's down about 0.2%. Mr. Tulsian, before we let you go, any quick thoughts on MCX? I mean, numbers were good this time. But as an investor, how would you approach the stock?
Sonia, in fact, core numbers have really helped the company quite well. In fact, their derivative market share has, in fact, what I liked in the whole results, overall the numbers are seen to be quite good, but their derivative market share has risen to 91%, which was at about 87-88%. So that seemed to be a comforting fact for the company, that if they are able to, again, regain their market share in their core business, that is seen quite positive. So overall seen positive, but maybe the talk of the MCX merger in with National Stock Exchange can be an interesting turn if it happens. But overall numbers, I will only derive this one increase in the market share of the derivative segments to about 91%.
Okay. So, any of the other results you want investors to keep an eye on? There was Trident's numbers. There was Jai Bharat Maruti. There were some other stocks. Would you want to speak about any of them?
See, Lata, in fact, this Jai Bharat Maruti numbers have seemed to be a bit disappointing. And in fact, maybe tin plate, the number which came after the market, or Trident, in fact, came in the market hours and seemed to be quite good on both the fronts, on their home furnishing as well as on the paper segments. But what I liked post-market hours is only the tin plate. The tin plate numbers have seemed to be quite good. Because Munjal Auto, I don't think that numbers can really be considered, because now they are focusing more on the real estate business, and they are optically seen to be doing have posted very good numbers, 4-time increase in PAT, but that's not from their core operations of the automobile business. So tin plate numbers are only seen to be comforting, which we have seen after market hours in this last 12 hours or 14 hours.
Okay, DHFL, by the way, is down 2.5%. Yesterday, of course, there was a disclosure that Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has trimmed some of his holdings in DHFL, but of course it's been such a volatile stock and gone through so much. Any thoughts on the stock, Mr. Tulsian, DHFL?
See, Anuj, maybe this could be a sentimental effect that people, just try to, but I don't think that you have much of the problems remaining on the valuation front. Maybe some kind of, because the major problems, have already seen having captured in the share price. So those who want to be brave, though we are not advising to make a fresh entry, but those who have been holding it can remain invested. But we have been keeping extremely positive view on the housing finance sector going forward. And that's the reason, in fact, we have been giving buy call on HDFC Limited, Indiabull Housing Finance, maybe GIC Housing, LIC Housing, Canfin Home, these kind of stocks. Maybe PNB Housing is little looking stretch, on the valuation front. But overall, so maybe if you want to add, if you are holding DHFL, you can remain invested, but we won't advise the fresh buying into the stock, because this volatility will keep coming in and seen in the share price, every alternate days.
All right, for now, the market has settled flat, so it's holding on to its positive bias. but the needle is not moving too much in terms of gains, about a 12-point upside. Let's get a quick comment on what's happening in the commodity space. Brent is hovering around $60 a barrel. Our commodities editor Manisha Gupta joins in now. Hi Manisha, good morning.
Morning, Sonia. Thank you for that. Well, yes, with 3% gains overnight, and even with that bit of a decline in the Asian markets right now, we are holding $60 per barrel for the Brent crude oil prices. It has been good gains on the back of the fact that you have seen the US dollar continue to weaken. It is about China signaling towards further stimulus measures, and also the API has reported a decline in US inventories for a weekly basis. So these have been the few factors which have been supportive. On the other side, the data that has come in from the global markets hasn't been so strong, whether it is the German GDP numbers, which is the slowest in last 3 years, or whether it is about the US producer price index data, which has been the slowest in 2 years, the US government partial shutdown making perhaps its impact on the economy. So these are some points which have been on the weaker side as well. And then, of course, there has been an IEA report which says that the US production will continue to gain up, is expected to hit a record high of 12 million barrels per day in this year, 13 million barrels per day next year. So the US production growth is expected to continue on the higher side. So the crude oil prices even then are holding $60, and you have seen a second straight day of gains come in for the base metal prices also. Copper prices up 0.5% on LME and Shanghai as well. The dollar weakness and China's stimulus measures have been keeping this space as well in support.
Okay, Manisha, thanks a lot for that. Bit of a strength on currency now, a little bit, not much, but that would be interesting. Let's take the 9-10 calls then. Ashwini, what's on your list?
See, BEML is a buy with a stop of 900, target of 935.
Okay. Sudarshan, what would your 9-10 call be?
Well, I'm looking at Hinge Unilever, and a small correction should now end, and it should lead and go back to its earlier 1850 highs. That's not the target for today, but it's a buying opportunity.
Okay, buying ahead of its numbers. Interesting. Mitesh, what about you? What's the 9-10 call?
Yeah, I would choose a buy on Cummins with a stop below 859 and targets of around 910.
Okay, fair enough. Jet Airways is a bit soft, but it's seen a big rally play out. Stock of the morning, of course, on the upside would be Specialty Restaurant. On the downside, KPIT. So that's something to watch out for. Z Entertainment also up about 2.5%. Mr. Wilson, oil marketing companies are making a comeback. We heard the management also say that margins are back to normal. Of course, the market will not give them the valuation that they commanded before this intervention. But your thoughts on how to approach these names now?
Sinoj, I think it is only after the confirmation by the HPCL chairman, that he has said that yes, they have been able to restore their marketing margin back. Probably market may be giving them some kind of sentimental effect, but this was known. And in fact, this I have said 4-5 days back also that the market, the OMCs must have restored back their 1 rupee cut long back, and that should not be taken as a negative. But the problem with the oil marketing companies ahead of Q3 numbers is more of the inventory losses, because they always carry with a heavy inventory, and they don't have the the inventory management, risk management system, because and the inventory losses could be very huge, and because of the drop in the Singapore benchmark, the GRM, core GRM is going to take a hit, and taking both into a consideration, it's very difficult to take a call that what could be the GRM. I won't be surprised to see the GRM and the net GRM after factoring in the inventory losses could be as low as $4 to $5 as well, which will definitely be seen quite disappointing by the market. So ahead of the Q3 numbers, I won't be adventurous in taking an investment call in these oil marketing companies.
Okay, won't be adventurous. 2 more minutes to go before the markets open. KPIT Technology is now down about 6% and Z Entertainment is one of your big nifty gainers, up about 2.5%. Sudarshan, on Z, have you liked this stock? I mean, have you traded it in the past? And what should one do as both a trader as well as if you're slightly longer term?
Well, I think I should simply wait and see whether the rally we see today is sustained. If it is, then a base is in place and buying as a trader and as an investor is justified. But I probably need to give it a few days.
Okay, need to give it a few days. By the way, for last 2 days, there's a bit of a rally in metals. Yesterday also, from 52-week lows, we saw a rally in stocks like Tata Steel, JSW Steel. Vedanta is one of the top gainers in pre-open. Mitesh, any thoughts on this one?
See, I think Vedanta clearly with that news of import duty possibility on aluminum, I think is showing some strength. Plus, technically, I think oversold levels and now giving a bounce back. 205 should be the first level. If it crosses that, I think there should be further strength. But 205 is the first target in the short term, and then I would look at 2 and 3.
Okay, that's on Vedanta, up about 1% right now. Fortis also has completed the acquisition of the RHT Health Trust assets. So Fortis is also trading a tad bit in the green right now. And a couple of other stocks. So J&K Bank has had a fairly smooth run. I mean, this week it's up almost about 10%. So J&K Bank looking pretty good. Mr. Tulsian, any of the numbers that are coming out over the next couple of days, anything that would interest you? I mean, we spoke about this earlier, but just wanted your thoughts on some of the large caps, say like a Wipro or an HUL.
See, Sonia, I think two numbers need to be kept on mind. One is HUL and second is Reliance Industries Limited. Both tomorrow, both the results are due tomorrow. But maybe the smaller banks can, the smaller results can seem to be more on my radar. Maybe like Federal Bank and DCB Bank also, because it will be interesting to see the results of both the things. But these 3 or 4 results will be, on top to keep an eye on till tomorrow.